What's up guys, Sean Nalawani, SeanNal.com with a quick Q&A video here on the topic of forced reps. And the question is, what do you think about the use of forced reps? Are they a good way to squeeze out some extra size and strength gains? And if so, what's the best way to utilize them? Before I jump into the video, guys, if you do enjoy this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button below to stay up to date on future videos, and also click that little bell symbol as well, because that way you'll be notified anytime I upload new content if you do enjoy these videos. So for those who are still relatively new to lifting, forced reps are pretty straightforward. You take your set to failure until you can't do any more reps on your own, and then your spotter jumps in and provides a bit of assistance to help you perform additional reps. Usually anywhere between 1 to 3 forced reps at the end of the set would be typical. The most common exercise you'll see forced reps being used on is the bench press, but they can technically be used on any exercise as long as the spotter can safely help out. So forced reps, yes or no? The simple answer I'd give here is that I don't think forced reps should be bothered with in the majority of cases, because they're largely just unnecessary and they could even be potentially counterproductive. If you want to gain muscle size and strength effectively, going roughly 1 rep short of concentric muscular failure on the bulk of your sets, that's a good intensity level to shoot for because it's high enough to maximize the hypertrophy response while still allowing you to perform enough total volume for the session without burning yourself out. Going all the way to concentric failure is fine if used in moderation, but forced reps are essentially a beyond failure technique. And so they're going to be really taxing on your body as a whole, especially if you're doing them on bigger compound movements and on multiple sets for a given workout. Your central nervous system is going to be stressed more heavily, and your performance on the other upcoming exercises in your workout, that's also going to take a hit as well. And then on top of that, because forced reps are used at the end of the set when you're in a state of very high fatigue, they also have a bigger injury risk, especially if your spotter is less experienced and doesn't know exactly when to jump in or exactly how much assistance to give you. Now, this doesn't mean that forced reps are going to kill you or that you can never use them, but if you are going to include them in your workout plan, they should be used very sparingly as a high intensity technique. So maybe if you get stuck halfway on a rep toward the end of a set, or if you just want to train to a really high level of intensity here and there on certain lifts, things like that. And you should only be using forced reps if you're a more intermediate to advanced trainee. I can't see any reason at all for beginners to be using them. Also, don't do them during every single workout, and try to save them toward the end of training a particular muscle group so that your strength isn't compromised on upcoming sets and exercises for the same muscle group. And keep in mind that the overall impact that forced reps will have also depends a lot on the type of exercise you're doing. For example, going to failure on a bicep curl followed by 1 to 2 forced reps, that's going to be a lot less taxing on your body as a whole in comparison to doing the same thing on a bigger compound lift like, say, a leg press or a pull-up or a bench press. And while we're on the topic of forced reps, there's also 2 other things that I want to point out here that are related since we're talking about spotter assistance. The first is that if the weight is so heavy for you that you need help from your spotter after the first couple of reps and the rest of the set basically just becomes a bunch of forced reps, then the weight is just way too heavy for you and you need to lighten things up. I see this all the time in the gym, especially on the bench press, where someone will load up way more weight than they can handle. They unrack the bar, perform a couple reps with questionable form, hit failure, and then their spotter basically just stands there and pumps out bicep curls from behind the bench to help them get 3 or 4 more reps. There's just no reason whatsoever to be doing this. And if you're aiming for a set of say 6 reps, 3 reps on your own and 3 reps with spotter assistance doesn't count. You need to be getting the full 6 reps on your own, and if you can't, then you need to lighten up the weight. I mean, if you're doing this for ego reasons because you want to look strong in the gym, then keep in mind that number one, most people in the gym are really only concerned with what they're doing in their own workouts, and no one actually cares how much somebody else can lift. And number two, if you are someone who loads up 10 plates on the leg press and then does quarter reps while your spotter pushes on the sled from behind, you really just look silly, for lack of a better term, and you're actually having the opposite effect of what you were aiming for. And the second thing here, which is also related to forced reps, is that if you are capable of lifting the weight on your own in proper form for your targeted rep range, then there's no reason for your spotter to be giving you any assistance at all. This is another very common thing I see. I actually see personal trainers doing this all the time with their clients, where the client is perfectly capable of handling the weight on their own and they're still like 3 or 4 reps shy of failure. and then the trainer just randomly jumps in and starts helping out. By providing assistance, all you're really doing is lightening up the weight and preventing the lifter from properly taking the set close to failure on their own. So if they're lifting the weight just fine and they haven't hit failure yet, then there's no reason to get involved. If you do, then you're actually interfering with the very thing that's needed to stimulate the muscle building process in the first place, which is generating sufficient intensity. So I'll leave it there. To sum it up, I don't think forced reps are necessary for building muscle or gaining strength, and they aren't something I recommend in any of my training plans by default because I think they're just overkill for the most part, and they're potentially dangerous as well if you use them incorrectly. But if you are going to experiment with them, then they should be used very sparingly and only if you're a more advanced lifter. So thanks for watching, guys. If you found this advice helpful, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos. If you want to get access to the exact workouts and training methods that I do recommend for maximizing your progress, along with nutrition and supplementation guidelines as well, you can check out my step-by-step body transformation blueprint by clicking here or by visiting btblueprint.com. The link for that is in the description box. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram as well for more daily tips if you aren't already. The links for that are also below, and the official website is over at seannell.com. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you again soon.